In a world that often felt loud, fast, and harsh, one man sat in front of a camera, slowly lacing up his sneakers and changing into a red cardigan. His voice was gentle. His words were kind. But behind that soft tone was a radical mission: to protect the hearts of children. His name was Fred Rogers. And he didn't just host a show. He created a sanctuary.
Fred McFeely Rogers was born in 1928 in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. A shy, overweight child, he was often bullied and spent much of his early years indoors, finding comfort in music, puppets, and his imagination. He saw how cruel the world could be. And he made a quiet promise: if he ever had the chance, he'd speak to children the way no one spoke to him, with respect, honesty, and love. He later studied music, theology, and child psychology. And through an unlikely path, he found a home in the growing world of television.
In 1968, at a time when television was dominated by noise, slapstick, and marketing, Fred Rogers launched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. The format was simple: a man speaking directly to children. But what he said, and how he said it, was revolutionary. He talked about feelings. He addressed death, divorce, fear, anger, self-worth, and even national tragedies like war or assassination, all without ever raising his voice. When a guest star came on, Fred would listen. When a child wrote to him, he wrote back. He wasn't playing a character. He was always himself.
Fred Rogers didn't just teach kindness, he practiced it as a form of protest. In a time of segregation, he invited a black police officer, Francois Clemens, to soak his feet with him in a kiddie pool. It was quiet, it was simple, and it was powerful. When funding for public broadcasting was at risk, Fred went before Congress and spoke from the heart, not with statistics, but with the power of human emotion. By the end of his testimony, the room was silent. He won over the toughest senators with nothing but sincerity. He showed the world that compassion isn't weakness. It's strength.
Fred Rogers was not naive. He struggled with depression. He carried burdens. He was deeply affected by the weight of the world and the pain of others. But every day, he chose to show up, on television, in letters, in person, and be a consistent voice of peace in a chaotic world. To him, each child was special, not because of what they did, but because of who they were.
Fred Rogers passed away in 2003. The world mourned the man who had helped raise generations. But his legacy is not just in reruns or quotes. It's in every adult who grew up feeling safe because Mr. Rogers said, "I like you just the way you are." It's in every parent who speaks to their child with patience because Fred showed them how. It's in the belief that even in a world filled with noise, one soft voice can still be heard.
Fred Rogers never pretended the world was perfect. He simply believed we could meet it with grace. He reminded us that feelings are mentionable and manageable. That kindness is a language. That every person matters. He didn't just ask, "Won't you be my neighbor?" He showed us how to be good neighbors to each other. And that, perhaps, is the most radical message of all.